Walden, and a very, very special warm welcome to all of you who are joining us live stream. We feel your presence here, and we're going to first begin with the Guru Gita. So from wherever you are, please do join us in this sacred chant that we've all been given by our beloved Baba, and we'll chant that all together. That'll take us to around 10 o'clock, and then we'll continue our satsang from there. Thank you.
जपे विनियोगान् आताद्यानाम् हंसाभ्यां परिवृत्तपत्रकमले दिव्ये जगत्कारणे विश्वोकीर्णमनेकदे अनिलये स्वच्छन्दममेचया तद्योतं परशम्भवं च चरणं दीपाङ्कुरग्राहिणां प्रत्यक्षाक्षरविग्रहं गुरुपरं ध्यायेद्विभुं शाश्वताम् मम चतुर्विधा पुरुषार्थसिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगान् सुत उवाच कैलासशिखरे रम्ये भक्तिसन्धाननायकं प्रणम्य पार्वती भक्त्या शङ्करं पृच्छति श्रीदेवी उवाच ॐ नमो देवदेवेश हरपरजगद्गुरो सदाशिवा महादेवा गुरुदीक्षां प्रदेहि मे नीलमार्गेण भो स्वामी देहि ब्रह्ममयो भवे त्वां कृपां कुरु मे स्वामी नमामि चरणौ तव ईश्वर उवाच मम रूपासि देवी त्वां त्वत्प्रीत्यर्थं वदाम्यहं लोकोपकारकः प्रश्नो न केनापि कृतः पुरा दुर्लभं कृष्णलोकेषु तत्तुरुष्व वदाम्यहं गुरुविना ब्रह्मणान्यान् सत्यं सत्यं वरानने वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि इतिहासादिकानि च मन्त्रयन्त्रादिविद्याश्च स्मृतिरुचातनादिकाम् शैवशाक्तागमादीनि अन्यानि विविधानि च अपभ्रंशकराणि जीवनामृतते च साम् यज्ञो व्रतं तपोदानं शपस्तीर्थं च चैव च गुरुतत्त्वमविज्ञाय पुरस्ते चरते जना गुरुबुद्ध्यमनोरन्यात् सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः कल्लवर्तं प्रयन्नस्तु कर्तव्यो हि मनीषिभिः गुरुविद्या जगन्माया ते च ज्ञानसम्भवा उदयो य प्रकाशेन गुरुशब्देन कथ्यते सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा श्रीगुरुपरसेवनात् देहि ब्रह्म भवेद्यस्मात् वक्रपर्तं वदामि ते गुरुपरं भुजं स्मृत्वा जलं शिरसि धारये सर्वतीर्थभागस्य सम्प्राप्नोति फलं नरान् शोषणं पापपङ्कस्य दीपनं ज्ञानतेजसां गुरुपरोरकं सम्यक् संसारानवतारकम् अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं गुरुपरोरकं विवे गुरुपरोरकं भित्वा गुरुरुशिष्टभोजनं गुरुमूर्ते सराध्यानं गुरुमन्त्रं सराजपे काशीश्रेष्ठं च निवासो जनविचरणोरकम् लभ्यते उकारस्त्वन्धकारश्च ऋकारस्तेज उच्यते आज्ञानाग्रासकं ब्रह्म गुरुरेव न संशयः ऋकार प्रथमो वर्णो मायादि गुणभासकः ऋकारो द्वितीयो ब्रह्म माया भ्रान्ति विनाशनम् एवं गुरु परं श्रेष्ठं देवानामपि दुर्लभम् आहुः गणेश्चैव गन्धर्वैश्च प्रपूज्यते ध्रुवं तेषां च सर्वेषां नास्ति तद्वं गुरो परम् आसनं शयनं वस्त्रं भूषणं वनादिकम् साधकेन प्रदातव्यं गुरुसन्तोषकारकं गुरुराराधनं कार्यं स्वजीवित्वं निवेदयेत् कर्मणा मनसा वाचा नित्यमाराधयेत् गुरुं दीर्घदण्डं नमस्कृत्य निर्लजो गुरुसानिधौ शरीरम् इन्द्रियं प्राणान् सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदयेत् आत्मदारारिकं सर्वं सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदयेत् कृमिकीटभस्मविष्टा दुर्गन्धिमालमोचकं श्लेष्मरक्तं स्वचमंसं पञ्चयेन वरानने संसारवृक्षमारुदा पन्तन्तो नारकर्णवे येन चैवोद्धृता सर्वे तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णुर् गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः हेतवे जगतामेव संसारनावसेतवे प्रभवे सर्वविद्यानां शम्भवे गुरवे नमः अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः त्वं पिता त्वं च मे माता त्वं बन्धुस्त्वं च देवता संसारपरिभोरार्थं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यत्सत्येन जगत्सत्यं यत्प्रकाशेन भाति च यदानन्देन नन्दन्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य स्थित्या सत्यमिदं यभति भानुरूपता प्रियं पुत्रारि अप्रीत्य तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः येन चेतायते इदं चित्तं चेतायते नयः prayanena Shri Gurum Sharanam Raje Vande Guru Paradvam Vamanashchita Gocharam Shveta Rakta Prabhabinam Shiva Shaktya Makambaram Ukaram Chagunatitam Rukaram Rukpavarjitam Gunatita Swarupam Cha Yodaryatsa Guru Smrtam Atrinetra Sarvasakshi Achaturbaurachutam Achaturvanaro Brahma Shri Guru Katita Priye Ayam Ayanjalir Bado Daya Sagar Vriddaye Yadanugrato Jantush Chitra Samsara Mukti Bhag Shri Guru Paramam Rupam Viveka Chakshushamurtam Mandabhagyana Pashyanti Anda Suryodayam Yatha Srinatacharana Dvamvam Yasyam Dishi Virajate Tasye Dishe Namaskuryat Bhaktya Pranidinam Priye Tasye Dishe Satatam Anjalesha Arye Rakshipyate Mukarito Maruper Budeshta Jagarti Yatra Bhagavan Guru Chakravarti Vishwadaya Pranatana Nitya Sakshi Srinatari Guru Trayam Ganapatim Pitatrayam Veravam Siddhogam Batukatrayam Parayugam Dutikramam Mandalam Virandra Shata Shushta Shasti Navakam Niravali Panchakam Srima Malini Mantra Raja Saitam Vande Guru Mandalam Avyaste Sakale Sudirga Manile Yadi Prarer Dushkare Pranayama Shatera Nekka Karane Dukarmaker Durjaye Yasmin Avyudite Vinashati Bali Vayu Swayam Takshanan Raktum Tatsajam Sabhava Manisham Sevadvamekam Gurum Swadeshika Shiva Sharira Chitanam Avedana Tasya Shivasya Chintanam Swadeshika Shiva Chanama Kirtanam Avedana Tasya Shivasya Kirtanam Yapparare Nukanika Api Samsara Varide Setu Bandayate Natam Deshikam Tam Upasmaye Yasmadhanuglam Lava Maharadhyana Mutsute Tasme Shri Deshikendraya Namashta Bhishta Siddhaye Parabjam Savasa Tadguru Tatsamipake Tarantarasa Sarvasya Taru Sarvasya Bhayata Ajoham Ajaroham Cha Anadini Dhanasvayam Avikara Shrirananda Aniyamatoman Apurvanam Param Nityam Swayam Jyotirniramayam Virajam Paramakasham Dhruvamanandamavyayam Shruti Pratyakshametiya Hanumanashtratushtayam Yasya Chamata Poveda Deshikancha Sarasmare Mananamya Bhavam Karyam Tavadami Mahamate Sarutam Chamaya Drushpam Tvaiti Shtati Samratam Akanda Mandalakaram Vyaktam Vena Characharam Taparam Darshitam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Sarva Shruti Shiroratna Virajita Parambuja Vedantam Buja Suryo Yas Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Yasya Smarana Matrena Jnanamupadyate Swayam Yaiva Sarva Sampraptis Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Chaitanyam Shashvatam Shantam Vyomatitam Niranjanam Narabindu Kalatitam Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Stavaram Jagamam Cheva Tata Cheva Characharam Vyaktam Yena Jagat Sarvam Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Jnana Shakti Samarudas Tadvamala Vibhushita Mukti Mukti Pradatayas Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Aneka Jamma Samprapta Sarva Karma Vidahine Swapna Jnana Prabhavena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Nagurorarikam Tattvam Nagurorarikam Tapa Tattvam Jnana Param Nasti Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Manata Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mama Ma Sarva Bhutatma Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Jnanamulam Guru Murti Pujamulam Guru Param Mantramulam Guru Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripam Guru Radhiranadischa Guru Param Devatam Guru Paradaram Nasti Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Sapta Sagara Padayanta Tirtha Snanadikam Phalam Guru Ram Gripayo Bindu Sahasram Shena Durlabam Kinnara Gandharva Pitaro Yaksha Charana Munayo Pina Jananti Guru Shushane Vidim Mahankara Garbena Apovedya Balandita Samsara Kuara Varte Tatayantre Yatagata Namukta Deva Gandharva Pitaro Yaksha Kinnara Ushaya Sarva Siddhashta Guru Seva Paramukha Yanam Shunu Mahadevi Sarvananda Pradayakam Sarva Sokya Karam Nityam Mukti Mukti Vidayakam Shrima Parabrahma Gurum Smarami Shrima Parabrahma Gurum Varami Shrima Parabrahma Gurum Namami Shrima Parabrahma Gurum Vajami Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvanvachitam Gagana Sadrisham Tadvamasyari Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavachitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Nityam Shuddham Nirabhasam Nirakaram Niranjanam Nityaboram Chiranandam Guru Brahmanam Amyam Rudam Buje Karnikamarya Samste Simasane Samsitya Divya Murti Yaye Gurum Chandra Kala Prakasham Chipustaka Vishtavaram Dharanam Shvetam Varam Shveta Vilepa Pushpam Mukta Vibhusha Muritam Drinetram Vamanka Pitya Sitya Divya Shaktim Mandasmitam Sangra Kapaniranam Anandam Karam Prasanam Jnana Swarupam Vichabora Yuktam Yogindram Vidyam Bhavaroga Vedyam Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Yasmi Shruti Zididvamsa Nigranugramakam Kuntyam Panchaviram Shashvat Vasate Tam Namamyam Ratta Shira Shishuklabje Vinetvam Dvibhujam Gurum Varavaya Yutam Shantam Smaretam Nama Purvakam Nagaro Radikam Nagaro Adikam Nagaro Adikam Nagaro Radikam Shiva Shasanata Shiva Shasanata Shiva Shasanata Shiva Shasanata Tirameva Shivam Tirameva Shivam Tirameva Shivam Tirameva Shivam Mama Shasanato Mama Shasanato Mama Shasanato Mama Shasanata Evam Vidam Gurum Yatva Jnanamupadhyate Swayam Tatsat Guru Prasadena Mukto Amiti Bhavaye Guru Darshita Margena Manashudim Tukaraye Anityam Kandaye Sarvam Yakinchindam Magocharam Eyam Sarva Swarupam Cha Jnanam Cha Mana Uchate Jnanameya Samam Kuryan Nanya Panta Dvitiyaka Evam Shudva Mahadevi Gurunindam Karotya Sayati Narakam Goram Yava Chandra Divakaro रक्षति पार्वती आशक्ता हि सुरद्याश्च आशक्ता मुनयस्तथा गुरुशापेन ते शीघ्रं क्षयन्ति न संशया मन्त्रराजमेरं देवी गुरुरित्याक्षरद्वयं स्मृतिवेदार्थवाक्येन गुरुसाक्षात् परं वरम् श्रुतिस्मृति अविज्ञाय केवलं गुरुसेवकं सेवे सन्न्यासिना प्रोक्ता इतरे वेषधारिणां नित्यं ब्रह्म निराकारं निर्गुणं बोधये परं सर्वं ब्रह्म निराभासं दीपदीपान्तरं यथा गुरो कृपा प्रसादेन अपरमं निरीक्षये अनेन गुरुमार्गेण स्वज्ञानं प्रवर्तते अब्रह्मस्तपर्यन्तं परमं स्वरूपकं स्थावरं जगन्नं चैव प्रणमामि जगन्मयम् वन्देऽहं सच्चिदानन्दं वेरतीतं सद्गुरुं नित्यं पूर्णं निराकारं निर्गुणं स्वमसंस्थितम् परतरं ध्येयं नित्यमनन्तकारकं हृदयाकाशमध्यस्थं सुधास्वतिकसानिभम् स्वतिकाप्रतिमारूपं दृश्यते दर्पणे यथा तथा मणिचिराकारम् आनन्दं समित्युजाम् अङ्गुष्ठमन्त्रपुरुषं दायतश्चिन्मयं मृटिं तत्र स्फुरति भावो यः शृणुतां कथयाम्यहम् अगोचरं च चागम्यं नामरूपविवर्जितं निःशब्दं च विजानीयात् स्वभावं ब्रह्म पार्वती यथा गन्धस्वभावेन कर्पूरकुसुमारिषु शीतोष्णारिस्वभावेन तथा ब्रह्म च शाश्वतम् स्वयं तत्त्वविदो भूत्वा सत्तव्यं यत्र कुत्रचित् चित्तब्रह्मरवतत्र ज्ञानं भवति तदृशम् गुरुज्ञानं च कृत्वा स्वयं ब्रह्मं मयो भवेत् पिण्डे परे तथा रूपे मुक्तो सो नात्र संशयः श्रीपार्वती उवाच विन्दं किं च महादेव परं किं सामुदारुतं रूपतीतं च रूपं किं एतद् Adesha Punya Bhajanam Muktasya Lakshanam Devi Tavagre Katitam Maya Upadesha Stata Devi Guru Margena Muktiram Guru Bhakti Stata Dhyanam Sakalam Tava Kirtitam Anenaya Bhave Karyam Tavarami Mamate Lokopakarakam Devi Lokikam Tuna Bhavaye Lokika Karmano Yanti Yanayena Bhavarnavam Yani Tu Bhavaye Sarvam Karmanish Karmayat Kritam Iram Tu Bhakti Bhavena Patate Shunate Yari Nikit Pata Paratavyam Tat Sarvam Safalam Bhave Guru Gita Makam Devi Shuddhata Bhammayojitam Bhava Vyari Vinashartam Swayameva Jape Sada Guru Gita Aksharikam Tu Mantra Rajami Mam Jape Anye Chavi Viramanta Kalam Naranti Shorashim Ananta Phalamamnuti Guru Gita Japenatu Sarva Papa Prashamanam Sarva Daridya Nashanam Kalam Mrityu Bhayaharam Sarva Sankata Nashanam Yaksha Raksha Shabhutanam Chora Vyagra Bhayapaham Mahavyari Aram Sarvam Vibhuti Siridam Bhave Atava Mohanam Vashyam Swayameva Jape Sada Vashtrasane Chatarindram Ashane Roga Sambhava Merinyam Dukam Apnuti Kashte Bhavati Nishvalam Krishna Jinayana Siddhir Moksha Shri Gyagra Charmani Ushasane Siddhi Sarva Sirustu Kambale Kusheva Durvaya Devi Asane Shubra Kambale Upavisha Tato Devi Jape Dekra Kamanasa Eyam Shuklam Chasanyartam Vashiraktasanam Priyem Abhichare Krishna Varnam Vittavarnam Danagame Uttare Shanti Kamastu Vashe Purvamuko Jape Dakshine Maranam Proktam Pashime Jadanagama Mohanam Sarva Bhutanam Bandamokshakaram Bhave Devaraja Piyakaram Sarvaloka Vasham Bhave Sarvesham Samvanakaram Gunanam Chavivardhanam Dushkarmanashanam Cheva Sukarma Siridam Bhave Asidam Sadaye Karyam Navagraha Vayapam Dushkarmanashanam Cheva Sukarma Shri Varinam cha Parvati Manasatmena Vaktavyam Satyam Satyam Vadamyam Ativa Bhagavachitaya Shraddha Bhakti Utaya cha Pravaktavyam Iram Devi Amamasi Sada Priye Abhakte Vanchake Durte Bhakane Nastike Nare Manasapina Bhaktavya Guru Gita Karachana Samsara Sagara Samudra Neka Mantra Pramadi Deva Mani Pujita Siddha Mantra Daridra Dukkha Bhava Roga Vinasha Mantra Vande Mahabhaya Ram Guru Raja Mantra Iti Sri Skanda Purane Uttarakande Ishvara Parvati Sambhade Guru Gita Samapta Shri Gurudeva Charanarpanamastu Nityanandaya Gurave Shishya Samsara Harine Bhakta Kaye Kadehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Nirvasanam Nirakansham Savadosha Vivarjitam Niralambam Nirantangam Nityanandam Namamyam Nirmamam Nirahankaram Samalustashmakanchanam Samaduka Sukhamadiram Avadutam Namamyam Avinashi Namamanam Ekavignaya Tatvata Vitaraga Vayakrodam Nityanandam Namamyam Naham Deho Name Deho Jivanamamiti Evam Vignaya Santushtam Avadutam Namamyam Samastam Kalparamantram Yapamukta Sanatanam Iti Vignaya Sandruptam Nityanandam Namamyam Yanagnidagna Karmanam Kamasankalpavarjitam Eopare Ainamtam Avadutam Namamyam Swabhavineva yo yogi Sukhambhogam navanchati Yadrishthalava santushtam Nityanandam Namamyam Nevaninda prasansamyam Yasya vikriyate mana Amakriram amaram Avadutam Namamyam Nityam Jagraravastayam Swapnavadyo Vatishtati Nishchintam Chimmayamanam Nityanandam Namamyam Vaisham Nasti Priyam Nasti Nasti Asya Shubha Shubham Veradhyana Vinamdam Avadutam Namamyam Charam Pashati no Yastu Jagapashanti Chinmayam Nitya Yuktam Gunatitam Nityanandam Namamyam Yohi Darshanamatrena Bhavate Bhuvanatrayam Bhavanam Jagamam Tirtam Avadutam Namamyam Sarva Pujyam Sarapurnam Akhandananda Vigraham Swaprakasham Chiranandam Nityanandam Namamyam Nishkalam Nishkriyam Shantam Nirmalam Paramamritam Ganesha Purivasinam Avadutam Namamyam Yoga Purnam Japomurtim Prema Purnam Surarshanam Jnana Purnam Kripamurtim सर्वजन्या विशास्यशालिनी तेषोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्रह्मणा सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सर्वशरदुर्गाणि सर्वभद्राणि प्यारे गुरु हर की आरती करूं गुरु हर की वेदों बिचा मेरा बचाया आवागमन भी गुप्ता कराया वेदों बिचा मेरा बचाया आवागमन Maharaj Ki Jai. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday morning Satsang here at Shanti Mandir. And especially to all of you who are joining us live stream from all around the world. We have Mother India, Europe, Australia, Mexico, Argentina, Costa Rica, and many others. And first of all, I would like to offer our appreciation to the people who donated all of our live stream equipment, which is making this all possible so that we could all have satsang together, virtual satsang together. So thank you. And also, first and foremost, Jai Gurudev to Gurudev over at Magod, and pranams from all of us here at the ashram. And many people, that's the first question I'm getting by email, text, and telephone calls. Where is Gurudev? Where is Gurudev? So he is safe and sound. He is settled at the ashram in Magod and continuing, as we all are, with the great yogic practices, the great treasures that we've been all given by Baba. And it's funny when we look at the situation that we're all in, we can think of it as the scriptures always place so much emphasis on name and form. We have a name, the coronavirus, and it's without a form. So name and form. So here we are with a silent, invisible presence that's moving through the universe and having quite an effect, quite an impact, and at the same time, bringing us all to a point of great stillness, invoking and inviting us to turn all of our attention within and not so much as without. As one of the people joining us from Costa Rica said, he said, wait this thing out here in relative silence and the opportunity to go inside rather than out, maybe a gift. So at this time, as many people have called or phoned and looked into the emails and all of the information that's coming to our doorstep, I've been telling everybody or sharing with everybody, there's really no decisions for any of us to make, just to simply follow the protocol that is being requested to all of us. We simply need to wait, watch, see, and allow the circumstances to settle. Many people have asked, when is Gurudev coming? Is he still coming on April 7th? Is he coming here? Is he going? It's all a wait and see. So we can all give ourselves the time for the mind to perhaps take a vacation, a real vacation. It doesn't have to think. It doesn't have to decide. It simply just has to be. And Gurudev always talks about developing patience and acceptance. And I think we're all kind of brought to a halt right now where that's basically all we can do. Be patient and accept what is happening. So let us as a community follow and respect the protocol that is being requested of us at this time, the washing of hands frequently, the social distancing, the 6 feet apart. Somebody shared something in India and they said, they had yesterday, the Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, requested that everybody observe a curfew from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then ring the bells to the world at large. And somebody said to me, they say the word curfew is care for you. So it's not something that needs to be a negative, but more of it's the universe caring for us, and that therefore respect any curfews that are being given. It's a time to strengthen our sadhana, remain uplifted throughout this experience and throughout the situation, using all of the yogic practices that we've been given it. So how fortunate are we? We have the opportunity to increase the repetitions of our mantra. We have to learn to continue to manage our own minds, keep it steady, remain informed, but limit our time on our devices.
and use discrimination as to the amount of information that we pass on. One of the main things that we are very fortunate here at Shanti Mandir Walden with 294 acres is we can truly take refuge in nature. We can go for that walk every day, we can step outside of our doors, enjoy the wind, enjoy the sun, enjoy the rain, enjoy the sky, and the vastness that is here to experience. So I really encourage everyone, wherever you are, step outside of your door once a day, several times a day, and just look up at the vastness of creation. And it kind of allows us, it gives us that moment to just step out of wherever our minds may bring us, and where sometimes we can become limited and think the situation is so intense, or wherever we want to, or whoever we've been talking to, however we bring ourselves there, but to truly go back to the expansive panoramic view of nature. And that's an instantaneous way of being able to breathe and inhale and expand into that, and reminding ourselves of truly how blessed we all are. Take a walk every day, and Gurudev will be sending us a message, a video message from Magod within the next, hopefully 24 hours, and we'll make sure to get that out to everyone so that we can, again, all the treasures that we have, all the great wisdom, knowledge, practices, we can really use them during this time of crisis or circumstances. The other thing is, something that's very joyous, is that we have this celebration of the great 9 days of Navaratri, beginning on Tuesday, March 24th. So we will be live streaming that to everyone, so you can join us, for all of you who have been practicing the Chandipat, the Lalita Sahasranama, and all of that for the many years with Gurudev and all of the various Brahmin priests. You will have access to be able to tune into the listening of the Vedic chanting with the Chandipat. If you have your books, you can sing along too, right from your very own homes and in the comfort of your own couches and puja rooms and all of that. And in the evenings, we'll be doing the Lalita Sahasranam, and that'll be each evening, 6 p.m. to 7:15, and everyone's welcome to join us for that as well. Let's see, what else can I share with you? Oh, and I also did request Lavarji. I said, who's in his village, and I said, please make sure and create a nice little introductory video for Navaratri, so on the first day we can share that with everybody. I said, make sure you have your bell ringing, because that always signals us to where we've been before, and where the great mantras and the bells and the conchas and all of that, where it takes us to within our own being. So I said, do that along with some of the Vedic mantras that pertain just to the Devi worship, because they all, for all of us who have heard them, as soon as we hear that, it brings us back to those beautiful memories of the places at which the Shakti moves, where it sits, where it resides, and all of the experiences that we've had over the many years, twice a year, honoring the goddess. So that again, so make sure you stay with us for Navaratri, and we will continue to do this each Sunday Satsang. We will keep you updated from Gurudev and anything that arises from where he is in Magod. And the only other thing is, everybody please follow the protocol, remain safe, remain healthy, maintain a healthy mind throughout what is at each one of our doorsteps, and continue to tune in to Shanti Mandir and enjoy all that is here for all of us, for each one of us. So what we're going to do now is we are going to move on to our Kirtan, and Kirtan this morning is Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan. So wherever you are, allow yourself to get into a comfortable posture. Chant to your heart's content from your living rooms, from wherever you are seated. If you're on the beach, If you're in your home, if you're out in nature somewhere, join us. There's great power, there's great strength when we all pray together. Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan. And after the Kirtan, then I'll be introducing the Cheshwari, who is our speaker this morning and who will begin to shift and tune our minds towards honoring the goddess that we celebrate and where we devote and divide the 3 days for each for each deity. So Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, 3, 6, 9. And she's going to give us some inspiration, knowledge, and the ways that we can participate in that. So we'll have her offering after the Om Bhagavan Kirtan, and then we'll simply hear something from Baba's book, Where Are You Going?, where he talks about meditation, which is absolutely a perfect time right now for everybody to stop and to really go deeply into the practice of meditation. And then we'll meditate, and then we'll conclude with Danya Danya and Jota Se Jota, followed by Darshan and Ashram Lunch Prasad. So thank you all. Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.
Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan. Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Om Bhagavan, Muktananda Bhagavan.
Good morning. Pleasure being here with everybody. So many people that we know and remember, and some that maybe we don't. But in any case, we're all this family, Shanti Mandir, and the home today is here at Walden. So let's start with introductory mantras. Muktanandaya Gurave Shirya Sansara Harine Bhaktakarye Kadehaya Namaste Chitsaratmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nisprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Vunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vivishavahe Om Shanti 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 Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. Well, as Devyani mentioned, we are approaching once more the day of Navaratra, which is so important for all of us here in Shanti Mandir, actually is being celebrated for the 26th year. It's amazing, from March 24 to April 1st here in Walden. And it started being celebrated in the year 1994 in Melbourne, officiated by Brahmin priest Ramchandra Bhatt. So without any interruption, it has been continued to celebrate twice a year, whether Gurudev is in India and Australia and Argentina, not yet Mexico, but maybe in the future, or the United States. So it is always celebrated, and we will do it here also with beautiful mantras and all that power. So Navaratra is about power, it's about Shakti, it's about what we are. We forget that we are that Shakti, and therefore we suffer. So the title for this, the original title for this talk was Fulfillment and Detachment. Because I've been contemplating that at times when I feel fulfilled, when I feel complete, I don't need to go and think that I should be detached from this or that or the other. It just happens automatically because you're so full, you don't need anything. Therefore, detachment happens automatically. So we celebrate Navaratra, and the story has to do a lot with fulfillment and detachment. I would like to say that we celebrate this by chanting a book, a chant that is called 700 Verses to Durga. It's arranged in 13 chapters, as we know very well. And then Chandi is one of the many, many thousand names that the Devi has, because she, among many other demons that she slaughters, she does away with the demon Chanda. Pataha, or Pat, como we say here in the United States, it refers to the ritual reading. So we read a book or we read a magazine, and it's something that we can speak and we can read aloud, or you can read by yourself for yourself. We can take notes. There's many ways of reading. But the way these chants are done, which is wonderful, they're chanted. Sanskrit is not to be spoken. In general, it has to always be chanted. It has great power. And when we hear it, it's like all our organism vibrates. Never mind whether we understand a little or nothing or all of the Sanskrit. It is power inherent in the language, the mother of all the languages. We love it. Then, this is the central text of Shaktism. So it's like a cult for the Devi, and it's also called the glory of the goddess. So when we come every day during those 9 nights and 10 days, actually the thought is that I am that Devi. I'm not coming to worship something outside me. And how does that happen? How can I consider myself a Devi? I remember when I first started going to the Siddha Yoga Ashram in Mexico City, and I heard these videos of Baba, you are God. And I thought, when I get home, I'm going to tell my parents. Maybe they tell me, get out of the house. Because the concept was too new for me. But I've been reading, it's like when you find you need $500, no? To pay something. And then you find in an old coat, in one of the hidden pockets, 3,000. And you say, oh my God, treasure, yay. So this book is the third time I read it, but for me, it's like the first time. Let me silence this thing. It's the first time. It's magical, because the words of Baba is not only what he says, it's the effect that it has on you. It takes you there in a matter of seconds. It is really a treasure. So what I thought for this talk, to make it a little interesting, hopefully, it is for me. So the Mahavakyas are like pronouncements in Hinduism, but I think in all religions. And you learn them, they're mantras, and then you repeat them, and then you use them when the time comes. Like at this time, we're all the time repeating, this too shall pass. So that would be one of those phrases. And I chose my 6 favorite from Baba because they're powerful. One of the ones that I really like when I studied a little bit of Kashmir Shaivism, and of course there's levels, no? There's people who know a lot, know a little, know almost nothing, which where I am, and then beginners. And it says the self is the witness of the mind, Baba used to repeat this so many times in videos and his books. And then he would say, once you situate yourself in the seat of the self, of the Atman here, then you are it. You are always it, but you don't realize that you are it. You forget it because you are like deluded by Maya. And he explained it very clearly, time and again. And I think we get a little more each time that we hear it. And so what I think is this word witness is sakshi, which means equal vision, sakshi. No? So like a camera, Krishna would know a lot about this, because if you tell a camera, okay, you record this, it can be a party, it can be a funeral, it can be a birth of somebody, it can be a music festival. The camera has no opinion. It just records, it just witnesses what is outside. So when he says you sit yourself in the seat of the self or the Atman, then you sign your declaration of independence from your mind. You no longer follow it like a sheep. Every time he says, I like to ice cream. No, we cannot go. We're in quarantine. I want ice cream. And then all these things begin. One is independent, when one is in the space of the self, independent of the mind. And one just witnesses it. If the thoughts are good, if the thoughts are bad, if they're boring, fun, whatever, has nothing really to do with me, because I'm the Atman. This is the teaching of Baba. Do we want to follow it? We may say it's difficult. We may say it's easy, but this is what he taught. So this is the self is the witness of the mind. And when we begin the story of the Chandipat, so the gods have been trying to defeat several demons in a world that is like only gods and demons, and they've not been able to do it. So the demons are always winning. And it's interesting to know that in this particular book, in this particular chant, Asura, which is the name they use for the demons, is not the opposite of God, because there wouldn't be an opposite, because Shiva is everything, including the demons. The demons are like a minor God, semi-God, aspiring to become God, aspiring to become enlightened. Therefore, in the first chapter of the Chandipat, 2 of the demons are slaughtered by Vishnu, and he says, this is the only way I can help you to move on, because you're very stubborn. So he takes his sword and shoo, 2 heads, move on to the next life. So this teaching is very important, because we are all aspiring to get to higher places, but sometimes it's just like the mind doesn't let us, so we need a little push, and that's where the Guru comes in action. So Vishnu kills these demons, and then therefore he is called, they have one of the 73rd name of the Vishnu Sahasranam, meaning he who kills 2 demons. Then we can also see, if we read we're going to take all our Chandipat books for this, and then we see that every anthem or every hymn of praise consists of several parts. So the first one is a seer that is, of course, seeing what is happening there, and who knows what is going to happen. He knows the end and the beginning and everything, because he's a sage. In the Guru Gita, in the Ashtavakra Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, and in the Chandipat, and everywhere, this is what the first person who appears there. Then it also has a meter, and the meter is the syllables and the rhythm of the chant, because it's not just written as when we hear the Chandipat so beautiful, there's always the same amount of syllables, and the way they are pronounced are the way they are chanted, like studies in my God. The deity that is extolled, the one whose qualities we want to imbibe in us or discover, because we already have them. It's just that we've been distracted. Then a seed, or the essential nature of that particular action, in this one where the chant is going to do away with all the demons one by one. So that is the seed. The essential nature is to destroy the thoughts that are too much, too many, too high, too low, too good, too bad, and all these things that torture us. She comes and symbolically kills all these demons. a specific energy or Shakti, and then the final purpose of the recitation, which is really to attain that oneness with the Devi. Then the first chapter is the Kali. Kali is the goddess, and she is always presented with 10 arms and 10 weapons. So the discus, the club, the arrow, etc. You can see this later or Google it or something. But the point being that thoughts come to us from all directions. So there's actually 10 directions, which are north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, above and below. So from everywhere, they're trying to put it in a poetic way. They come at us from everywhere, all these thoughts, and they distract us. So after presenting what is going to happen with the Devi, then the story begins. And it's the story, it's a figure of literature in which there is a story inside another story. You must have heard that they go to see somebody and ask a question, and instead of giving you a direct answer, they show you, oh, I'm going to tell you a story. And that story is what illustrates it. Jesus used to speak always in parables like that. So here, coincidentally, a king and a businessman meet, and they go to see a saint because they're suffering so much, because they are attached. So the king was thrown away from the kingdom. The family, everybody betrayed him. His animals, his wives, everybody was very mean to him, and they sent him on exile. And he is thinking while he's on exile, why am I still suffering? Why am I concerned if my elephants are eating well, if my children are treated well, if my wives are happy, the birds are eating? It's just so much worry for something that is no longer my business. He knows it, but he cannot overcome it. No? So he knows he has to go see a saint to get the right answer. And in his way, he meets this businessman. And the same case, no? They did away with his business, and then they no longer even talk to him, but he misses them. He is not able to move on and see what the future brings. He is living in the past. So the words are this. I mean, it's this book, no? But I just put it in 2 lines. What is it, O exalted one, that causes this ignorance even in the presence of our wisdom and understanding? So in translation, if we're so smart, how come we don't understand this, right? The businessman and I are fools without the capacity of discrimination. Granted. So the Rishi replies this. And this is very interesting for everybody, I think, if we're going to study a little more of the Chandipat, because the teachings, at least the ones that I know a little of, which is the Indian scriptures, they give you the answer on the first phrase. This is it, chung. But if you don't get it, then you go a little lower, little lower, little lower, little lower, until you get it. So he says the reply, Maya, Maya, the great measurement of consciousness, is the cause of the circumstance of all objects in creation and their relationships. See, in Kashmir Shaivism, we have discussed many times that sutra, where it says the world exists because there's a mutually adapted object and subject. So in other words, something really easy, like we need water because our body is made that it needs water. If we had been made by Shiva, whoever, not to need water, the water wouldn't be necessary. So this is how nature works, is a mutual relation between subject and object. So what he's telling them, the great measurement of consciousness, because Maya is that what measures, the universe is immeasurable, is infinite. But then God wants to have some fun. So he measures it and gives it, like Devyani was saying, name and form. Okay? So he says, this is the object and this is the cause for all the relationships. The great Lord of the universe, in this case Vishnu, is put to sleep in divine union, and therefore the world is deluded by her. So the woman, like, put him to sleep, and she goes shopping. It's so beautiful. So then Vishnu is there, is called Madhusudana, which is the same as Madhu, our friend in California. Madhusudana because he killed the two demons, Madhu and, him and Kaitava, Madhu and Kaitava, but they call him Madhusudana. He's the 73rd name in the Vishnu Sahasranam. Then, I'm going to go back a little to the Mahavakyas of Baba. So, these people are narrating their problems to the sage. Would you say that is their mind watching their own mind? Yes, it's like a game of mirrors, no? I'm watching my mind go crazy, but I cannot stop it. Why? Because I'm at the same level, at the level of the limited individual, where we usually are. So where I say, I wish I wasn't thinking of all this. I'm obsessed, I don't want to be, I want to think of something else. We need to take 2 steps up and go higher to the seat of the self. Be a witness, back to what Baba teaches, no? Consciousness is the witness of the mind. And by the same token, he says also, the mind is the contracted form of the self. So he's saying in 2 ways, if the mind expands completely, like when we chant, and the chant is so beautiful, and we don't need anything, somebody may come and say, you need anything? I say, nah, I'm drunken. With the chant, with the bliss. When the bliss is there, we don't need anything. So it says, the mind is the consciousness in its contracted form. But that's what is needed for creation to happen, otherwise it doesn't. Then the third one, which is one of the favorites here, God dwells within you as you. Now, this is not that easy in the beginning to understand, because exactly as you are, it dwells within you, not as you wish you were, a better person, a nicer person, a kinder person, a taller person, a thinner person. He dwells within you as you are right now, because you are it. So when you are it, you need to identify yourself with that Atman and do it frequently, so that becomes a second nature, and then it becomes nature. This is what he's teaching in this book. He talks about the self so beautifully. I'll read a little in a moment. So he's saying exactly as you are, but exactly as you are as the self, not exactly as you are as the limited individual. Because limited individual, we see with these little eyes, glasses, and I will just see from my limitation the other people's limitation. So I'm stuck. The effort is to go higher. And then when you see yourself as perfect, then everybody's perfect. But not with a measure, like here is a measure, of the human perfection. This is what I find fantastic about Baba. He gave the teaching. And while he was giving, I never met him in person, but I saw all his videos. While he was giving the teaching, he was speaking, right? But he was giving the experience. Because I can read and say whatever, but doesn't mean much, because it's me. He gave the experience, so when people left that hall, many people said, I'm not the same person that came in. I'm somebody entirely different. So this is the difference between a guru and just a speaker, right? And we're so lucky to be on this path. It's just like incredible. So then he says, God dwells within you as you. So if we go back to these people in the Chandi path, they are not identifying themselves with greatness. They're identifying themselves with limitation. So the sage tells them, I'm going to tell you a story. The story is that all these demons and all these gods were fighting, and as I said, the demons were winning. What are we going to do? All these gods, this cannot go on. It's like when Mexico plays with Brazil, soccer, they always lose. So the gods were like, no, we need a goalie, what do you call it? So they got together with all their powers and all their Shaktis, and they said, let's create a higher god, a more powerful god, so that he goes and the demons. They did it. They put all their weapons and all their Shaktis together, and what came there? A beautiful, beautiful woman called Devi. Resulted a woman. This is what we do in this day and age. So she's powerful, she's beautiful. When she's killing the demons, you see her face totally peaceful. The demons are like this, and she's like, with my sword, I kill them. Prasanna is called that. Total peace in her face, in her expression. Because she knows that it's all a game, that it has to happen that way because that is the way it is made to happen. Why somebody dies when the heart stops beating? Because the body is made so that when heart stops beating, this is the end of life. So when we ask many questions, we have to understand that the answer cannot be understood by the mind. We have to go a little higher. So these people are, then they see the Devi, and then she meets with a demon that is a buffalo. But she, of course, wins. It's a long, but she wins. And then there's another one that comes in the form of a demon that when he gets caught or he gets any kind of wound, then from that blood that falls on the ground, another demon comes. So it's kind of the coronavirus, really. It's thousands. Then she creates Kali from the power of her anger here. No? It comes as a psychic force, Kali. And then Kali is represented with a long, huge tongue. And then she, all the blood, and she swallows it. And then she's called Kali because she is beyond that and beyond time, Kali. So when we sing Kali Durga, we are invoking all this power, no? And then she, because the two demons are Concha, Chanda and Munda, she from there on is called Chamunda. This is like one thing, okay, it's the same Devi, why is she playing all these games? But it's like we women, no? One day you put your hair red, and there's the sea rings, sometimes you go like a Swami. We like to go different, and the Devi is a lady. So she defeats this demon as well. And in the final episode of this, so the sage is telling all these stories. And suddenly he says, okay, this is what happened. She wins, she does away with all the demons, but the demons go to hell. They don't die entirely because there has to be part 1, part 2, like the series in Netflix. So they have to come back. And so she says, okay, so what is needed of me? I'm going to be, providing everybody vegetables and all this honey. She explains everything, what she's going to do for the human race. And at that moment, the sage asked the king and the businessman, so what do you want of her? And the king wants to regain his kingdom because he's stubborn, and to become immortal, and to be a king for 1,000 years. And after he's dead, only his own progeny will rule, right? So the Devi says, yes, granted. And the merchant is here, knowing all too well the pain of attachment, ask for knowledge that leads to liberation, which Devi mercifully grants. So he is liberated, in the body, and he now doesn't have to go back to his business. So I want to find, So what Eveni was saying, there's 3 nights for each one of the advocations of Devi. According to their powers, we worship them knowing that all is one, Lalita Ambika, with 3 different forms. No? So the first 3 nights is Lakshmi, which is a patroness of beauty and wealth. She's a consort of Vishnu. She's very beautiful. She's standing on a lotus. And then she bestows whatever people. And in the philosophy of Kashmir Shaivism, she corresponds to the power of action, which is called Kriya Shakti, because each one of them is a Shakti. If we want not feeling like doing anything, or we can think of Lakshmi, and we chant the Mahalakshmi Stotram, and then we feel enlivened. The second one is Durga. Her consort is Rudra. So we can think of her like she kind of equivalent to Ganesh, but not really, but she removes obstacles also. And her power is the willpower, Icha Shakti. And the third one, once we have what we need and also the willpower, we need wisdom to use the other 2 so we don't lose them. Because they say a fool and his money are soon parted. So we have it, now we need the wisdom to manage it in a way, no? So the third one is called Saraswati, of course, the patroness of arts, is the consort of Brahma, and Jnana Shakti, the power of knowledge, is her power. So it's very beautiful, it's very, very interesting, I think. Then we learn, every time we do the Chandipat, we learn something else. And I think they go slowly with the teaching, because so that we don't, in a way, try to know more than we should. So I'm going back to the Mahavakyas of Baba, that I love this. I thought it was a great idea for me. So the fourth one is called You Are That, Tat Twam Asi. This, Baba always used to say it, repeat it, and it is an important mantra, because actually what it says here, that thou are, no? In English, I don't know why they say you are that. In Sanskrit, it's that you are, which seems like the same, but it's not the same. Why? This is my interpretation, huh? But I think Bhaskaracharya and everybody has commentaries. I can have my commentaries too, right? So the thing is that they give you the highest first, that you are, instead of beginning you are that, because maybe in the human mind it's more difficult to think of going up or going elevated than to come down. That might be the reason, because definitely it is translated backwards. It is the same meaning and at the same time not. But then it's you are that. So when we are looking for some illuminations or for some experience, it helps to think that actually that what I'm looking for is what I am. It's not something I have to go and claim or buy or obtain or steal or deserve. I'm that. It's just I keep forgetting. So by repeating the mantra, by doing the chant, by doing the Chandipat, we encourage ourselves to go higher, because there's not that much time. We are lucky we have this human body, as the great Shankaracharya said. The greatest thing that can happen to anybody is to have a human body. Then to have a sincere desire for liberation. How many? No? And then to have a capable and wise guru to guide you. And we have all three. How lucky are we? So this is like, if we, instead of thinking, no, this is so difficult, so much sadhana, maybe too many lifetimes in the future, I am that. And really, with that Shakti, with that conviction, sooner or later, it will manifest. Because the Guru says it, and we believe him. This has a relation, what is the time, with the philosophy of Kashmir Shaivism that I like so much, because there is a sutra that says, because of poverty of Shakti, because we don't have that Shakti, or we don't realize that we have it, the individual soul wanders through the ocean of repeated births and deaths, so samsara, because we think that we lack Shakti. But I am Shakti, how can I lack it? It's just to become connected and stay connected to that power. For that one, it's silence. For me, that was introspection, study, chanting, meditation. We know what we need. Because what it says is, any individual, I don't have the quote here, but I've read it many times. Any individual that performs the 5 functions in its limited form, remembering that it is Shiva who is performing the Panchakrutya, the 5 functions, then at that moment he is Shiva or she is Shiva. Like, for example, to go from here to there, I have to walk. I cannot be here and there at the same time. It's a limitation of locomotion. But Shiva has that. He can be many places at the same time. See? So we're always remembering that we are Shiva representing him or her in a limited form. Instead of thinking of lowly ways. Baba always used to say, the worst sin is to think lowly of yourself. So I didn't have that one, but it's always floating there. So that's the 4th. The 5th one, we love it, I think. is the world is as you see it. He said it so many times, no? And this is another case where it is translated backwards. Interesting, because it says in English, we know it, the world is as you see it, which means this world, depending on how I see it, is how it becomes. That would be in English, right? Well, in Sanskrit, is ya drishti, sa srishti. So, which means ya drishti, such as is your vision, your mindset, your viewpoint, your reality inside, drishti, as is your drishti, so that the word srishti doesn't mean is. This is important. It's very little Sanskrit I use here, but this is important because the verb means spring forth. So the world will spring forth into creation according to the quality of your mindset, of your viewpoint. So this is where we have to work if we want to change the world, is in the drishti, in the mindset, vision, viewpoint, etc. And then the world will manifest as per this. Because we are the only ones who created. There's nobody else doing it for us. It's just an illusion when we think, oh, I wish the president, you know. Well, no. The president is the crystallization of the common consciousness. So when many people think more or less the same or alike, then there creates like this Devi that they created. There comes this person, there comes this character, and that represents the thoughts of everybody who's underneath. So this is, I read in a book of Deepak Chopra, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So the world is as you see it, or as you create it, the world will be. I would translate it like this, no? From the Sanskrit. Then the sixth one is, I think we love it because we chant it every day, is from that, which is perfect, and this, which is perfect, we can take something perfect, and only perfect will remain. There's 1,000 ways to translate it, but basically what it says is the outer world, when they say that, is that which is not visible. So all that is perfect. We have to believe it because we don't see it. This world is also perfect. Why? Because it is a condensed form of that. So it is the same, it's just different forms. It's like water and ice and vapor or steam, same thing, different form. And then if we take something from it, apparently, that which remains is also perfect. So when we really try to think like that, it makes life very easy because you think, well, it has to be perfect. But I won't see it as perfect from the vision of the limited individual. This is the mistake. Sometimes I say, how can it be? You know, people are dying from this illness. How can that be perfect? We are not going to understand it here. Has to be from that, the seat of the Atman. So there's, 2 minutes. So what happens now is that, as I was saying, there's different levels of information. There's different levels of speech, as we know. And also with Devi, with getting to know the Devi deeply, there's also different forms. So I'm going to... So there's the level that is called the Vaikari, in which Devi in the form is what we worship, because we need at some level to worship something that is outside. So we have an icon, or we have a coconut, or we have whatever there. And then the level where we are moving there is the coarse level of speech with words. It relates to sensation, and of course the vehicle is the spoken word. So this is the most basic. But when we chant a lot, like we do in Navaratri for hours and hours, then suddenly we move to the level of the heart, which is called Madhyama. And then the contemplation of Devi really happens in the yantra, which is a symbol that is there on the altar sometimes. And so by doing this, we move into a subtler level of communication with that. It's not with words, it actually is intuition. This is where we begin to feel different things, become a little more subtle. The third one is Pashyanti, which is the absorption on the mantra of the Devi. Then we go there, and it resonates on the navel. So when we hear ourselves chanting from here, It's very powerful because it's like the body is enlivened. It's very subtle perception, and the vehicle of speech is called silence. And finally, the highest of all is pure consciousness and beatitude, Chidananda. It's called para. This is the highest level. So by chanting, we move naturally and spontaneously through these levels. We experience that is, I think, what everybody loves, Navaratri, because we come, as they say, and when we leave, we're never the same that we were before. So we go, as Vianney was saying, out so that our minds remain healthy, but actually we go there. So actually we're going in. And this is a beautiful analogy of our lives in the ashram. And as Baba said, make your house an ashram. So every house we're considering an ashram. In order to go out, to understand more, to learn more, we go within. We go more into the forest. So by going out, we go in. By going in, bless you, we go out of the 294 acres. And then, so we will practice this beautiful Navaratri. We will remember the goal of meditation and all of this. And I was thinking that maybe what we want to attain is the name of our guru. And Gurudev has the best name of all, because like there's, for example, Priyananda, this is the bliss of love. Shantananda, the bliss of peace. Muktananda, the bliss of liberation. But it's always related to something relative, right? But his is just Nityananda. It's always eternally in bliss and no outer relationship, as they explain in the Kashmir Shaivism. So with that, I invite you to come and be in Navaratri. It's really magical. Anything anybody can say doesn't do it justice. And then, to rest from that, you can read Where Are You Going? It's a jewel. It's a book that Gurudev recommended we read this year. It is pure gold. Thank you. Sadhguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai.
jagago, jota se jota jagago, Sadhguru jota se jota jagago, Nirantara Timira Mitago, Sadhguru jota se jota jagago. Tvameva Mata cha Pita, Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhushcha Sakha, Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya, Dravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam, Mama Deva Deva. Gura karo duka dara sabha, daya karo Bhagavan, mana mandira mein ujwala ho, tera nirmala gyan. Jisa घर में हो आरती, चरण कमल चितला, चानरी वासा करे, चोतानंत जगार, जहान भक्त कीर्तन करे, बाहे प्रेम दरिया, चानरी श्रवण करे, सत्य लोक से आए, सब कुछ दिया आपने, बेमत करुण्यानाथ, नमस्कार की बेमत करूं, चरण में दोनों हाथ, नमस्कार की बेमत करूं, चरण में दोनों हाथ। Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. So this concludes our Sunday morning satsang. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Nicheshwari, for your lovely offering and beginning to shift our minds towards the wonderful celebration of Navaratri, and also for the wonderful consolidated overview of Baba's Mahavakyas, that each one is a treasure of their own. So as many as we can continually embrace and imbibe, it's a wonderful thing. So I think everybody's going home with plenty to contemplate. And also I want to take this opportunity to thank our live streaming team, Deepanchu and Krishna, for their efforts in making this possible, and also request them to continue the great work in the days to come. So starting with Navaratri on Tuesday each day, we'll be here from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock noon with the Chandipat, and in the evenings from 6 o'clock to 7:15 p.m. with the Lalita Sahasranam and the Jaya Jaya Arati Nityananda. So everybody's invited to join us virtually. Also, For those of you who may have come on a bit later or somewhere during midway, you're welcome to visit the YouTube channel, the Shanti Mandir YouTube channel, where today's satsang remains up there until we delete it, which we won't be. So you'll be able to access it, and also you can continue to share it with your friends and circulate it to your WhatsApp groups and your contacts. So tune in on Tuesday for the Navaratri and next Sunday for our Sunday satsang. Also, I want to take this opportunity to let everyone know that tomorrow, I believe on Monday, we will have Leo Dale Mantra Live starting the Guru Gita. You will receive an invite for that. So with that, you can chant the Guru Gita every single day along with him. That will be live streamed. So pay attention to the emails that come to your inbox. Each one is an opportunity to be able to hold ourselves steady and remain established during these times. Also, we will have Nicheshwari for the Spanish-speaking people will be continuing her study groups again. So for Argentina, Mexico, Spain, all of you, you can contact Nicheshwari, and Dana will be starting an online study group workshop that will cover the Pratyabhigna Hridayam text. So for that, you can also contact Dana. So all of these things are coming available to us. And also, I would like to take this opportunity, and we'll do that each week, to offer our salutations and our 1,000 pranams to all of the nurses and the doctors who are out there working tirelessly to take care of humanity. So all of us can continue to send our prayers and also do exactly what they keep telling us, which is to please stay home. Somebody posted on their Facebook page, it was a doctor who works in Wilkes-Barre in Pennsylvania, and on the Facebook page, there was a team of doctors, and they were all dressed in their uniforms and their masks and what they're required to, and then they all had individual signs on each of their chests, and it made up a message, and it said, "We remain here for you. Please stay home for us." So their sacrifice for all of us is to be there, and it's a risk for them. So please, let's continue to follow the protocol that is being requested of all of us. Follow it with love, follow it with joy, follow it with the knowing that it's for our best interest and for the entire world at this point. So as Baba always said, Sarve Santu, Sarve Badrani Pashantu, Makaschid Dukabag Bave. May all beings be content. No, I was looking for Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. There we go. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be content. So with that, we close our Sunday morning satsang and look forward to seeing you on Tuesday with your Chandipats and your Lalita Sahasranams. Sadhgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.